I'm Travis DeVoy. This is Reflection 3 on the insight into slaves of enslaved African American women. And my perspective in general of women is there's no explaining the nurturing and the ability of a woman, in my opinion. And I honestly think that they're the most incredible beings in the face of this planet, and it's literally what keeps us going and keeps us alive is just women presence in general. So after reading an article on slaveholders' sexual abuse of slaves, uh, the Making of African American Identity, Volume 1, by Natural Humanities Center in 2007, that shows accounts of women, African American women slaves, partaking in sexual acts with their owners and with other slave men. Just, I just kept opening my eyes bigger and bigger, realizing, like, oh my gosh, like, this is insane. And the fact that African American women persevere through that is admirable at at least. I mean, I can't even describe how I would say persevering through something like that. I can't even describe it or begin to fathom what that was like being in that kind of a situation. But during this article, I could almost use the every single interview and write like a paper off from it that could just describe, or even like in this video. And I think an account by Harriet Jacobs in the article, she said it best, that the secrets of slavery were concealed. And because everything was just so hidden, it was like this underlying thing, but it wasn't any secret. It was happening. And white owners were having sex with black slaves. Um, White women were even like knowing that their men did it or partaking in it, and so it was well known. Like there was nothing concealed about it, but it was like this really hush hush, and I almost account that to some of just religion in general. Like, okay, well, we know this is bad, but we're doing this, but everyone's saying it's okay. This like super, concealment is based off from kind of religious, beliefs, and like, oh, it's happening, but not really happening. Um, Also, Elizabeth Keckley, uh, and I quote, edicts of the society which deem to undermine the virtue of a girl. And that's why I kind of bring in religion as like, again, it's this concealment, this hidden, like, okay, we're going to do it at night, or we're going to do this, and we're not going to say anything. And as long as my husband does it, I can do it, and it's okay. And this just huge, like, underground, uh, black market, sort of speak, no pun intended, this black market of all this sex stuff happening, this terrible things of abuse and sex, and the roles and where women were in the house, like African American slaves were in the house with their owners, and so I mean, there's an easy way to take advantage, like being in a house with a sexual predator. It's like that's, I mean, you might as well, I mean, you know what's going to happen, right? And just all of this stuff, and just taking out aggression on women, just anything, and just totally degrading them as not even just black women, but as a species as a whole, but specifically here in this article, black women. And I I was just appalled, and even the fact that they had to have sex in front of the owner for breeding. Like, They were straight up like, hey, you're 18 or you're 14 or you're 16, you can have a child. You're being bred, like they look at you, they look at the guy, a slave, both slaves, and saying, oh, they're gonna make the best breed and then like sell them like cattle. It's just I don't even I don't even know what to say. Like just the sexual part of it alone and the abuse on top of it is just remarkable that they were able to persevere through all of that. And honestly, like reading it, I just like I don't know. There's just this thing in my chest, so I had to like step away and really think about it and realize that with everything that's negative in our lives, there's always positives. There's something that comes out of it, and I'm like, okay, what is so positive about this? There's nothing positive. Well, there's there's an account by Sam and Louisa Everett that were enslaved in Virginia in 1936 in the article, and she said that Sam was kind to me and I learned to love him. And she was forced to basically breed with this guy Sam, and when I think about perseverance, I think about the possibilities that love is still there. Like, and maybe she was forced to love him, but I mean, at least I I would like to think, and I can't say for her, but the way I kind of read it is just like, without love and even black people in general, their sense of community throughout history is remarkable. And having love in a situation where there's fear and horror and chaos, it is insane. But it lightened up my spirits after reading all of this countless stuff that was happening over and over and over. And even in the book that we're reading in class, John Hope Franklin, From Slavery to Freedom, uh, it was controversial in chapter 4 that black women were even in the house, right? Because they were taking care of white children. But that's I try to take that as a positive thing, is even though they played like a hideous role, I guess you could say, is that they, though controversial, had influence over not influence, but they had interactions with white children. And I know with children, they're so smart, they're so innocent in a way, and so to really grow up and to kind of take a little piece of someone that's a different culture, and me being well traveled, like traveling and seeing different cultures and realizing, wow, this is amazing, and this is what's good about you. And it's like, it's really nice to know that, or at least maybe I'm naive, but it's nice to know that black women influenced or had an impact in young white children and showed them the love and compassion, as if they were their own sometimes. And that's so again, it's back to this love thing, and I'm just glad that we're able to today look at things and say, hey, like, you influence me in a positive manner. And I think that's the biggest thing. So throughout all horror and whatever, there was good that came from it. And overall, though, it's a little overwhelming, and I'm glad that we're not at that point anymore, and that we're definitely progressed into humanitarian things. But I definitely wouldn't want to be a black woman slave during that time.